First up, understanding food dates. Best by, sell by, and use by dates can be confusing, but they're not expiration dates. These labels have more to do with quality than safety, so let's break them down. The best by date, as the name suggests, is all about quality. It's the manufacturer's estimate of when the product will be at its peak freshness. But that doesn't mean the food will go bad immediately after this date. In fact, many foods remain safe to eat for days, weeks, or even months beyond the best by date. Next up, the sell by date. This one's mainly for the stores, not for us consumers. It's a guide for retailers to know how long to display the product for sale. It's not a safety date. So there's no need to panic if you're a day or two past the sell-by date. Lastly, the use-by date. This is the last date recommended for the use of the product while at peak quality. It's not a safety date either, except for uncertain perishable foods. But even then, a product that has passed its use-by date might still be safe to eat. Now here's the important part. These dates are estimates and can't predict exact food quality or safety. That's where your senses come in. Smell, sight, and touch can be powerful tools in determining whether a food item is still good to consume. A sour smell, mold, or an off texture are clear indicators that it's time to toss out the food. So next time you're about to throw away a food item just because it's a day or two past its best by or sell by date, stop and check it first. If it smells and looks fine, it probably is. So remember, those dates are not set in stone. Use your senses and judgment to make the final call. You'll be reducing food waste and potentially saving some money too. It's a win-win. Fruits and veggies can be tricky. Slight bruises or soft spots don't mean you have to toss them. It's a common misconception that a small mark or bump signifies spoilage. However, these imperfections are often just superficial, and the rest of the fruit or vegetable remains perfectly edible. Let's take bananas, for example. Overripe bananas might not look very appealing with their brown spots and soft texture, but they are actually at their sweetest and are perfect for baking or smoothies. Or consider apples. A bruised apple might not win any beauty contests, but beneath that unsightly spot, the rest of the fruit is as crisp and delicious as ever. Simply cut around the bruise and you're good to go. Then there's bell peppers. Ever found one with a wrinkly skin in your fridge? No need to panic. A wrinkled bell pepper might not be as crunchy, but it's still great for cooking. Just remove any soft spots before adding it to your dish. The same applies to many other fruits and vegetables. A soft spot on a tomato, a slightly wilted leaf on a head of lettuce, a brown spot on an orange. These are not necessarily signs of spoilage. They're often just indications that the produce is ripe and ready to be enjoyed. So why is this important? Well, by understanding that these minor imperfections don't mean our produce is spoiled, we can significantly reduce food waste. We also get to enjoy more of the nutritious, delicious fruits and vegetables we love. Remember, the key here is to trust your senses. Look at the color, feel the texture, smell the aroma. If everything checks out, chances are your fruit or vegetable is still good to eat. So next time you see a bruise on your apple, don't be quick to toss it away. A little trim can salvage the rest. Moving on to dairy products. They often last beyond their best by dates. When it comes to dairy items like milk, cheese, and yogurt, they can be quite the survivors. Often they maintain their freshness well beyond their best by dates. But how do you know if they're still good to consume? The answer lies in your senses. Your nose in particular plays a crucial role here. Milk that has gone bad has a distinct, unpleasant odor. So when you're unsure, give it a whiff. If it smells fine, you're most likely in the clear. What about cheese? Well, cheese is interesting. Some cheeses have stronger smells than others, but generally, if your cheese has developed an unpleasant or sour smell, it may be time to say goodbye. Now let's not forget about our eyes. Consistency is another key factor in determining freshness. If your milk or yogurt is lumpy when it should be smooth, that's a red flag. Similarly, if your cheese has mold that isn't part of its natural character, think blue cheese or brie, it might be time to toss it out. But what if I'm still unsure, you might ask? Well, if your senses are giving you mixed signals, there's one more thing you can do. Make a small taste test. Take a tiny bit and taste it. If it tastes off, trust your taste buds and toss it. But remember, safety comes first. If you're still in doubt after your sensory checks, it's better to err on the side of caution. After all, food poisoning is no joke. In the end, it's all about understanding your food and trusting your senses. With these simple checks, you can extend the life of your dairy products, reduce waste, and enjoy your dairy delights without worry.
Always remember, if it smells fine and looks consistent, it's likely safe. When in doubt, make a small taste test.
Leftovers are a big eat or toss area. They can be a veritable minefield of uncertainty, and it's not surprising considering the mixed bag of advice out there. But don't worry, we're here to give you a clear path through the leftover labyrinth. Let's start with the general rule. If stored properly, most cooked foods are safe to eat within 3 to 4 days. That's right, your grandma's famous lasagna or that scrumptious stir-fry you whipped up doesn't have to go to waste so soon. Storing properly means keeping your leftovers in airtight containers. Not only does this prevent them from drying out, but it also keeps them safe from cross-contamination with other foods in your fridge. And remember, the quicker you get your leftovers into the fridge after cooking, the longer they'll last. Now, when it comes to checking for freshness, your senses are your best friends. The first sign of spoilage is usually an odd smell. If your leftovers emit a funky, off-putting aroma, it's time to toss them. Next, look for any changes in color. If your chicken curry is turning green or your spaghetti bolognese has developed a gray hue, those are clear signs that your leftovers have overstayed their welcome. Finally, check for any signs of mold. If you spot any fuzzy spots or discoloration, don't even think about tasting it. When mold is visible, it's a surefire sign that bacteria has made a home in your food and it's time to say goodbye. But what if you can't finish your leftovers within the 3 to 4 day window? Well, that's where your freezer comes in. Most cooked foods freeze beautifully, allowing you to enjoy them weeks or even months later. Just remember to label your containers with the date so you know when to eat them by. So, if stored properly, most cooked foods are safe to eat within 3 to 4 days. Look for any odd smells or colors as your first sign to toss. And remember, when in doubt, freezing is a great way to extend the life of your leftovers and reduce food waste. Now you're all set to tackle leftovers like a pro. Before we wrap up, here are quick tips to reduce food waste. Firstly, consider meal planning. Knowing what you're going to cook ahead of time can prevent overbuying and ultimately reduce waste. Jot down a list before you go shopping and stick to it. This way, you're less likely to be swayed by impulse purchases that may end up uneaten and in the bin. Secondly, understanding food preservation can make a big difference. Did you know that storing fruits and vegetables correctly can extend their freshness? For instance, bananas should be stored separately from other fruits as they produce a gas that can cause other fruits to ripen faster. Also, storing onions and potatoes together is a no-no as they can cause each other to spoil faster. Little changes like these in how you store your food can ensure they stay fresh for longer, reducing the need to throw them away. Finally, don't underestimate the power of your freezer. Freezing is an excellent way to extend the life of many foods. Got a loaf of bread that you can't finish? Freeze it. What about that leftover chili? Freeze it. Many dairy products like milk and cheese can also be frozen. Just remember to defrost them safely in the fridge when you're ready to use them. And remember, food waste isn't just about what we throw away. It's also about making the most of what we have. So get creative with those leftovers. Leftover rice can become a delicious fried rice dish. Those wilting vegetables? Perfect for a stir-fry or soup. There you have it, folks. Armed with these eat or toss guidelines, you're ready to make smarter decisions, reduce food waste, and enjoy your meals to the fullest. Remember, when in doubt, a little inspection goes a long way. So start applying these tips today, and let's make a difference, one meal at a time.